welcome to this week's episode of Notes from Chicago. I'm Ashley Phillips. Today we have the incredible artist, Emma McKee. She is a cross-stitcher, she's a fabric artist, and has done so much in Chicago with athletes and artists. We're so happy to have her here today. Thanks, Emma.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
What do you love about Chicago?
Oh, gosh, what do I love about Chicago? What do I not love about Chicago? I always say that Chicago is the most American city, right? As goes Chicago, so does the rest of the country. Everything that is amazing and beautiful and special about the United States is in Chicago, as well as all the less great stuff as well. You get it all. So I really feel like Chicago is just this beautiful, quintessentially American city, representative of all the best of us.
Love it. I could not agree more. You've been working as a cross-stitch artist for a long time.
Yes.
Maybe describe for people who aren't familiar with your work or familiar with you, how would you describe what you do and what you have done?
Yes, I am a cross-stitcher. I'm probably better known in Chicago and across the world as the StitchGawd. I started making pieces some 13 years ago when I first moved to Chicago. I started doing one-of-a-kind cross-stitch apparel, jackets for up-and-coming, mostly Chicago rappers, but not just Chicago rappers. I also do a lot of large-scale cross-stitch. I also do, a lot of stuff about kind of social history, Chicago history. Basically, if you can stitch on it, that's for me. If you can't stitch on it, that's for me also. I'm a little unconventional with my medium, and it has allowed me to kind of be in all these super interesting spaces that you'd never really think of embroidery taking you.
How long have you been cross-stitching?
So I first picked up a needle when I moved to Chicago 13 years ago. I mean, I literally, like, one of the first pieces I ever made was for Chance the Rapper, and he wore it. Do you know what I mean? So like I made a present for my mom, a surprise present for my mom, because she was everyone in my family cross stitches. I didn't. I thought that it was like very strange, and I was just gonna leave them to it. And so for Christmas, I made my mom this cross stitch present, and it was a real shocker when I made it. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of like meeting the thing that you're supposed to do head on. It's very heady stuff. You know, I kind of was doing it and I was like, oh, this feels different than anything I've ever done before. Like, this feels right in my hands. And so I made that for my mom. And then, like 3 things later, Chance was wearing my stuff on the cover of Billboard, so there wasn't a whole lot of time between me actually learning the thing and then me being off to the races with it.
For the thing that you made for your mom, were you following a pattern, or were you like, okay.
No, it totally like a old school Nordic Christmas scene, like very old world cross stitch, like tiny little cross stitches on linen. But the way that it just like soothed my brain, the way that I was metabolizing it as I was doing it, it became pretty apparent that was it.
How did you go from creating that for your mom to creating something for Chance?
Twitter. You have to think this is early days of Twitter, right? Like I put something on there and I tweeted it at him and he tweeted back at me, and that was it. I mean, you could get to some pretty crazy, the internet was, social media was early days back then. And so you could just cut through a lot of the noise in these like really miraculous ways, and that was one of them.
Did you know then after that happened, or after that interaction, and then him wearing this, like your stuff on the cover of Billboard, that you were going to turn this into a business? No. No. I was, for the longest time, I was the girl who made jackets. I didn't have like a cute nickname. I really fell backwards into it. And because he was so big at the time, I mean, he was exploding. He was wearing stuff. Other people were seeing him wear stuff. Top Dog Entertainment, all these folks. So he exploded and I exploded.
And I didn't know that there would be any kind of necessity for cross-stitched clothing ever. But apparently, and I think it is just due to the nature of it looking different. Do you know,
Yeah.
like people really are drawn to stuff that is unusual, they haven't seen before. You can only get one. Do you know what I mean? It's not a readily available product. It's not something that you're going to see everywhere, and it's really hard for corporations to copy, although they have. It's harder than a lot of other things. So yeah, I couldn't have guessed, not in a million years.
After that appeared, or after you started working with Chance, or you produced some work for Chance, when did things start picking up and sort of like your client roster, I guess, expand?
Like instantaneously.
Okay.
Instantaneously. I mean that's kind of why it all happened, right? I made this kind of novelty thing, and if it hadn't immediately been so popular that I felt the need to do it, I probably wouldn't have. But people were asking me for it, and I was the only person that you could ask for that. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't like who tries to build a business off of making cross stitch for pop stars. It's like strange.
When people started approaching you, were people approaching you with requests, or did you have things in mind
Well,
as you
that's
were, starting a project?
that's always kind of the thing with me, is that you kind of just you kind of got to let me do it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, people could have requests. Whether or not I would do them is, kind of, that was, these things take so long. I liken them to like a Horcrux, like the Harry Potter. They take forever to do.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm going to make something for somebody, I have to really care about the person, place, thing, situation, whatever it is. Because it is limited. It's not something that you can just churn a ton out. So I have to be quite selective. If it doesn't excite me, then I can't really do it.
You said it takes forever to create these pieces. How long might it take you, or how long is it if you could give a few examples of some pieces and how long they took?
I mean, you think the stitching part of a piece itself will take anywhere from 60 to 100 hours?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. In the years I've been doing this, I obviously have to find ways to make myself more accessible. That's a difficult piece. So I don't actually do so many of those things anymore. I do them here and there when I have the time, when someone has the right budget.
You have created a 9-foot portrait of Chairman Fred Hampton. How did that happen?
Um, well, that's the interesting thing about living and making work in Chicago, right? I was here for many years, making things, being in these communities, meeting all these people, doing all this stuff. And Chicago, as I said, most American city, it will teach you a lot if you pay attention. And so I was in these places and just learning about the history of Chicago, and I learned about Chairman Fred Hampton. People know a bit more who he is. I think 10 years ago or so, 8 years ago, when I started my exploration into it, I mean, he's a very famous man.
Yeah.
But he also, there's a stigma about talking about him publicly because he was murdered by the Chicago Police Department. And
Yeah.
so people didn't want to talk about it. I mean, he was murdered at the behest of the President of the United States. And so it's just like, it was an unpopular thing to talk about. It's uncomfortable, but there is so much important stuff to be learned from the whole situation, from his politics, from his life, his short but incredible life. And I was so overcome by the story of it. I was so um, deeply affected by the truth that it showed me about the reality that we still live in now.
Yeah.
People think about civil rights and that era as being a long time ago, and it simply just wasn't. And the stuff that they were fighting for is the stuff that we're very much still fighting for. And so it felt to me that if I were going to be authentically living, working, making art in Chicago, that I needed to center things that I thought would be important for, the soul of everybody, which is to know about Chairman Fred Hampton and to keep his name alive and to talk about his politics. I think there's this idea that the optics of the Black Panther Party, this kind of militia, people have a lot of ideas about what that means, but the reality of the Black Panther Party is they they had a lot of socialist ideology. Their tenets were a lot about providing care to communities, providing care to children, very basic things that we we could really still use now. And so I really hate this idea that we look at this group of people and it signifies XYZ when really it was in reaction to a very violent government, which we're still, you know, we're still dealing with. And so, yeah, I just like, I had to find some place to focus that energy. And so I wanted to create this portrait of the chairman, to give people, maybe like me, an access point for learning about him, to give people who have felt violated by his murder, like a soft memorial to come to. I mean, the thing is, it's made out of blue velvet. It's 9 foot tall, but it's blue velvet. And so
Yeah.
I wanted it to be like a soft memorial to also like recognize the humanity of this 21-year-old.
Yeah.
He's 21. That's a baby. And the fact that he was doing the things that he was doing and that he so scared everybody because he had this messaging of unity and the power of the people. And so that just feels like thematically really important to us,
Yeah.
Chicagoans. And I think that we need to make sure that we are not unearthing these stories, but spotlighting them, highlighting them, memorializing them. You know, the big thing with Chairman Fred Hampton, the anniversary of his death in, you know, he's buried in, I want to say Mississippi or Louisiana, but the thing that the police do down there is they go shoot up his gravestone once a year.
Oh boy.
Right.
Really? Wow.
Yes. So so much so that they had to put like a cover over it, like a metal cover over it. And so that's their tradition, and we will have something totally opposite to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they are trying to cause harm to his memory. In Chicago, I feel like we should really be taking care of it.
Yeah. If people want to see that piece, where can they see it?
So in this moment, it is off display. It was
Okay.
on display in Pilsen for about 2 years in a
Okay.
church, and right now, fingers crossed, manifesting. We're working on getting it into potentially the DuSable somewhere so that people
Wow.
can, so somewhere so that people can go visit him, see him. We had him on display at the childhood home of Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. for a while. So he's been a couple places, but we're trying to find him a home where people can go see him all the time.
That's amazing. I hope that happens. It will happen.
Same.
Yeah.
DuSable, if you're listening.
We talked about Chairman Fred Hampton. We've talked about Chance the Rapper. That's in some ways. I know you've also done a lot of work with the Bulls. That's like a pretty wide span of different groups and organizations you've worked with. How do you decide, or how have you historically decided, you know, how you want to spend your time? Because it is a big. I mean, you are being compensated, but it is a big investment of your time and energy and artistic energy.
Basically, it just has to not be in total disalignment to my morals. I mean, it literally gets harder and harder and harder and harder as the time goes on, because everything is getting so tangled up in corporate webs, and seemingly most money comes from icky places now. But it's about you know, for instance, Amazon came and asked me to do something, I don't know, 2 years ago, but like I can't do that. Yeah, I can't do that. The NFL has asked me multiple times to do stuff. I can't do that. Probably to the detriment of my career, if we're being honest. But there's just like, you know, I've talked very publicly a bunch about why I won't work with the NFL, why I think it's not a good league, why I think it's bad for the country. I have lots of I have opinions about everything that preclude me from doing this kind of work. But yeah, so I just have to feel like I'm not doing worse with my work. You know, the work that I'm doing needs to make things better, or at least try.
Talk about your work with the Bulls then.
Yes, interesting, hey? The Bulls, There's lots of layers to that one. Yeah, I started, it was interesting. All Star was coming. This is right before the pandemic. All Star was coming to Chicago. Everybody was getting all this cool All Star stuff that they were doing, all this, basketball stuff. And I was kind of sitting there going like, gosh, why am I not doing anything for All Star? Why has nobody called? It's so weird. So I sent an email to the Bulls, a contact I had over there. I think I sent him like 10 or 15 things I thought I could do for the Chicago Bulls. I was like, and then I could do this, and I could make that, and I could make that. And so just throwing everything, kitchen sink. And they came back with me. They came back to me with something that wasn't on that list. They said, can you make a jacket for Zach LaVine, which was our star point guard back then? And I said yes. And it was like, as a baby Bulls fan, getting to be in that space, getting to be with, the Chicago Bulls organization, top to bottom, is chef's kiss hospitality. The people are so great, but they're also such big Bulls nerds too. Yeah. I'm a big Bulls nerd. So like me getting to be around the other Bulls nerds, but then also these Bulls nerds have access to like the everything, it's pretty incredible. So just like dream scenario working there. They couldn't be nicer. They couldn't treat me any better. And then I did, so that was a number of years ago. And then I did some programming with them for Kenwood. We did a 10-week upcycling jacket program, which was like really amazing. And then I also did some shoes for Benny the Bull.
Whoa, fun.
Yeah, really varied stuff, but always happy to be asked back there for sure.
You've also done some work with Brittany Griner.
So I did the W25, which is the 25th anniversary of the WNBA. Okay. So on the 25th anniversary, they had me do 25 jackets for the top 25 players of all time.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So it's like Brittany Griner, Sue Bird, Candace Parker, Maya Moore, Tisha Panachero, like you name it. So that was like so amazing. It was I don't know how much you pay attention to women's sports, but the WNBA has kind of exploded in the last exploded in the last 2 or 3 years. So it was the year of the championship in Chicago. So I would say like solidly a year or two before that happened. And it was just like such an honor, especially because these women traditionally have not been celebrated the way that they should be, or even compensated, honestly. Famously not compensated as they should be. So it was like a really fabulous opportunity to celebrate like each and every one of them. The WNBA gave me the most fabulous feedback. They said that it was the first time they had gifted such a large group of women something and nobody was mad at something that the other person, like everybody liked it. And so I was just, but that is want to happen when you put everybody on differing, when you with a league like the WNBA where people are just like so unequally compensated, there's going to be more room for that kind of stuff. So I took it as a great compliment that these women felt like celebrated,
Yeah. How long did it take you to make 25 or stitch 25 jackets?
So we had 6 weeks. Okay. We had 6 weeks. Well, I wasn't hand stitching. The only thing that we hand stitched were the inside labels, but we made like 250 individual different patches for them. We didn't even have their measurements. Okay. We had their wingspan. Okay. So they gave us the wingspan, and then they gave us small, medium, large, which when you're doing clothing for specialized sports bodies, it's very difficult because they got long arms, long torsos. So the woman who helped make them, she's a fabulously talented designer. Her name is Alex Carter. We were watching game tape. To see the length of the torsos. And then, I had to fly them overnight to New York to get on a private jet to be in Phoenix in time for the playoffs. They tried the jackets on live television. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Me and my partner who made these jackets it felt like I was going to throw up. We felt like we were at the top of a roller coaster. Sue Bird's jacket was the only small. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, gosh, is she really? And actually she's small.
And my seamstress said, oh, I had a nervous feeling. The reason I was running half an hour late is because I put an extra inch on either side of her collar just because I was nervous about it. She just did that. She just looked
Yeah.
at Sue Bird on tape and was like, oh, this needs to fit different.
Yeah.
And
That's
she did
wild.
it. It's wild. And it fit her like a glove. On national television, she just slipped it on.
That feels pretty high stakes that the first time they're putting it on is on live TV.
I don't know that high stakes jacket making is like a field that exists, but I have found myself in so many high stakes jacket moments. I can't even tell you. I'm just like, all for a jacket, okay.
Oh my. Have you had anyone ask you to make something that was unexpected?
Yeah, for sure. Joakim Noah asked me to make him a Sitting Bull jacket once.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people, I get lots of random ideas from people all the time. Yeah, whether or not, I mean, Joakim is one of my favorite basketball players, so I entertain the notion for Joakim.
You're like, I'll take this.
Well, no, really what I said was, oh, I don't know, Joakim, I'm not Lakota and neither are you. Perhaps I should learn about this. I mean, but who would I be going into a situation? You know, there is a lot of really interesting crossover with indigenous people, the Lakota specifically, and basketball, turns out. And I spent like 6 months researching it because I wasn't, you know, I never want to go into a situation and muck it up culturally, you know?
Smart.
So yeah, so that was probably one of the odder ones, the more odd requests that I've gotten. But honestly, it led to such like a beautiful journey of learning. I'm not even mad at it.
Did you end up making that jacket?
No. No. But I learned a ton.
You are not originally from Chicago. You're originally from Kansas City. What brought you to Chicago?
Why? What am I doing in Chicago? Yeah, no, I feel like it's really important to tell people, especially because I feel like I represent the city a lot. And so I make sure especially to let people know that I'm not from Chicago, and not in the way that I'm like secretly from like Naperville or something. Like I am, I am from the Midwest. As you mentioned, I was born in Kansas City. I grew up in St. Louis. So like lots of similarities. Basically, it's very dramatic. I lived in Canada for about a decade. I was in school up there. I was working on getting a specialty visa to stay up there. I was working in a recording studio, and it all kind of went haywire, and I got kicked out of Toronto. Well, I got kicked out of the country. I had to move back to, the woman who was sponsoring my visa also had designs on my boyfriend at the time. And so she thought the best way to handle that would be to redact my supporting paperwork for my visa. So it got really like, isn't that crazy? I think they're still together. I don't know. She tried to Facebook friend me a couple of years ago. I don't know.
Oh my God. That is very dramatic.
It was really dramatic. It was really traumatic, honestly. Like I wanted to live in Canada for the rest of time. Like I was quite happy there. But I remember Chicago from a visit my dad and I took on the Amtrak. We took an Amtrak from St. Louis. That was like our big thing, and we stayed we stayed downtown somewhere. And like little 10-year-old me saw the Viacom store downtown, and we went to Pizzeria Uno, and we went to the Shed Aquarium, and it just like really left such an impression on me. Chicago did. And so when I was in the process of like, oh, I have to leave Canada. LA in my head, big jump at that time. I was like 24. New York was too stressful for me. I certainly wasn't going to go live in Oklahoma with my family. And so I thought, gosh, I really love the Shed Aquarium.
Oh my God.
No, I mean, like, honestly, though, that was kind of where I was with it. I was like, I loved it as a child. I know. I moved here. I started applying for jobs online. I ended up, as I feel like so many people did of this era, I ended up at a job with Groupon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Quintessential Chicago story of a certain era.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing and wild. And I love that the memory of Shed Aquarium
Yes.
influenced you so much that you were like, yeah, let's make
Yeah,
make
let's
that
pack it
thing.
up. Let's go to Chicago.
In addition to like all of the pieces that you've created for individuals and for organizations, you've done a lot of work within the community. Tell me a little bit about your work with Sip of Hope and Marwin.
A similar kind of thought process to my one about Chairman Fred Hampton, um, was that, if you're telling Chicago stories, then you need to be investing in the place itself. Um, Eventually, I would, when I'm a bit more established or, have a bit more institutional backing, I would love to have, my own non-for-profit. I would love to be doing my own kind of programming. Um, but until then, I find the highest return or the highest return on investment is working with kids. Like it's so meaningful, impactful, and it's such low lift from us. Do you know what I mean? Like one of the easiest things that we can do is share ourselves with the youth, because it's amazing to see like a little bit of autonomy, a little bit of self belief, like what that can do for a kid's life is really remarkable. And so that's kind of where I started. It's how can I reinvest? Where can I make myself available for kids? What can I do that is helpful for them?
Before you talk about Marwin, explain what Marwin is. I know what it is, but for the listeners who may not have heard of it, it's such a cool organization.
It's so wonderful. Okay, Marwin is a nonprofit that does free arts programming for Chicagoland students. Basically, they're in this gorgeous, I think it's converted cigar factory in River North, and they have, I believe it's 8 or 9 studios in there, and each studio is thematically different for painting, for Photoshop, for puppet making, for clothing making, you name it. So really, they just provide all of this amazing, varied programming, like year round, for Chicagoland students. And it is in these strange times, especially having a community like that is super important. And selfishly, beyond like the benefits that the kids get from it, it's an amazing community that makes me feel really tapped in and really supported. And I fully didn't expect that part of it. I didn't expect that part of it for myself, but top to bottom, fabulous community, doing amazing things in the art world, doing amazing things for kids in art. So that's Marwin. We did celebrity jacket making actually for 2 of the classes. Yes, it was so fun. So I had my kids do like ranked choice voting, and we picked people they wanted to make stuff for. So my first cohort, I think we did, what was it? It was Drake, Melanie Martinez, and the Gorillas. And then, yeah, we got the jacket to the Gorillas.
Really?
Yeah. What's his face? The lead singer. It's only one guy. The Gorillas is one person.
Yeah.
Damon Albarn. Yeah, Damon Albarn has the kid's jacket. I had it couriered to his studio in London.
That's awesome.
So fun. And then the next cohort we had, they did Weezer, and they did, what a random choice for a bunch of 17-year-olds now. But they did Weezer and they did Paramore.
Okay.
Yeah. But just like, so we just had this like great time working in teams, making these jackets, and we did some upcycling too, but just like fun stuff there. And then Sip of Hope, should I tell our listeners what Sip of Hope is as well?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Amazing. So I actually haven't done my work yet with Sip of Hope, but we're in the process of doing it. Sip of Hope is this amazing, well, it's a coffee shop, but also a mental health resource that that deals with suicide. So they raise money, they do great programming. I've had some friends personally affected by this, and the main reason I started working with Sip of Hope was because of the amazing community they had fostered, and I like with my friends personally, and I had just heard of them through this situation, and
thought it might be, you know, thought they might be a good group to work with. So we're going to be doing a workshop in the summer to raise some funds for them. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
Are there any other upcoming projects you want to tell us about?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, I'll tell you about my big, fun, exciting project. I'm doing 7 large-scale cross-stitch murals,
Oh,
like across
wow.
this building. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm really excited about that. I think that there will be more of that kind of thing in the future, just like
There-
large-scale cross-stitch interior stuff. But this project that I'm very excited about right now, I am doing a residency with the Makers Lab at the Chicago Public Library.
Oh, cool.
So, yes, so for the next 3 months, I'll be working on a giant denim collaborative map of Chicago. Yes, and so we're going to be having stitching workshops, 8 of them, once a week for the next 3 months, where you can come in and I will teach you how to do a line stitch, a back stitch, or a chain stitch. And I'm going to ask you to rep your neighborhood and stitch a
Love
little,
it.
either the name of your neighborhood or like a place in your neighborhood, just like whatever your community means to you. And then we're going to do a big collaborative map of all the neighborhoods. I'm really trying to get all 77 neighborhoods represented, so I really need everybody to come out for these things. Totally free. I'll also have like office hours so people can come talk to me about their own journey of being a maker if they have questions or whatever. Like I will be, you know, so I'll be posting all this stuff soon. When I'll kind of be available for that. But I'm really excited about it. I think, I just think like the public library is such a magical place,
Yeah.
and I really feel like all of our magical places are in danger right now, especially. Do you know what I mean? More so than
Yes.
our non-magical place. The non-magical places are fine.
They're proliferating. There are more and more of them every day, the non-magical places.
Exactly. So like the library is such a magical place, and I want to protect her, and I want to shine light on her. And
Yeah.
you know, I've really been making an effort in the last couple of years to use my public library because it is a fabulous resource.
Yeah.
Fabulous resource. I mean, this is the amazing thing about Chicago as a city, right? Is like there is all of this horrible stuff going on everywhere. It feels like we're under siege. And yet Chicago has all these things that so many other cities don't have. Do you know what I mean? Like, in a vulnerable moment for a minute here. You know, I'm a freelance
Sure.
artist, and so I've had some moments where, you know, I didn't have health care. I think that that's fairly normal for freelance artists. You know, it's really hard. It changes every year, and it's very confusing. And so I didn't have it for a couple of months. And sure enough, I went and got my flu shot and my COVID booster at my public library. You know,
Nice.
it's just like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you really, you know, the city, it shouldn't have to be a stopgap measure like that. It really shouldn't. But I'm really grateful that if I have to live in this country, I'm so glad that I live here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think both like the Chicago infrastructure, but then also the library specifically, like it's a gift to have a third space where you're not expected to like pay for anything. Like you
Yes.
don't have to come in, you don't have to buy anything. You can just come in there and learn and hang out and like it's incredible.
And be in community.
Yes, and be with other people, like not be
That's the thing. Like,
cloistered up.
we are so, we are more connected to each other than we have ever been, but we are so disconnected to each other because of it.
Yeah.
Like even our friendship suffered, you know, it's because of how passive we are looking at all of our people's lives.
Yeah.
And because we can so passively look at everything, we don't feel like we have to engage in the way that we used to.
100%.
That
And I feel it. I mean, like I
Yes.
feel it, and it does not feel good.
It feels terrible. Well,
Yeah.
one of the reasons I started reading or going to the library so much is because I felt my attention span.
Yeah.
I felt it. I can feel it. And so now when I go to pick up my phone, what I'm really going for now is to pick up a book. Like every time I
Yeah.
like go check the phone, I'm like, okay, I gotta go read a chapter of a book now. It's very helpful, but like it's a scary inevitability. And so like the library especially is special and magic to me because like we need these places. Like we as humanity, we need these places.
100%. For the workshops that you're doing, are you doing it at a particular branch?
Yes, so I'll be doing them
at 4 different branches. So like Harold Washington Library downtown will be the first 2. And then I'll have to post about. There's 3 other library branches, one on the north side, one on the west side, one on the south side.
Awesome.
So I think that I'm the first to be taking my classes to other libraries. So this is like a new thing that they're trying to make it more accessible for people to get people engaged. So I will be on your point of town. I will be around your part of town at some point, folks. I'm gonna need you to come to my library workshop.
We always like to end with this question. When people come visit you, Emma, where do you tell them that they have to go? What do they have to do while they're in Chicago?
Oh my gosh, it totally depends on the kind of person that you are. There is a different Chicago for every single person. But if you're me, you're probably gonna go for like a really amazing breakfast, because that's like one of my favorite things to do. I feel like Chicago, like coffee, breakfast, sandwich. I mean, food in general.
Yeah.
If you're eating badly in Chicago, pardon my French, you're fucking it up. Like you are. So I would send you to LA Cafe.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
It's I think it's the best breakfast sandwich in the city.
Where is it?
It's on Western.
Okay.
I think they have like 2 menu items, which is my favorite kind of place, because then they really focus on it.
That's right. That means they do it well. Exactly.
So I'd send you there, and then I might send you to I'm gonna say that you need to go to a museum. I might send you to the is it the Museum of American Literature, the American Literature Museum, or the Outsider Art Museum? Because you're gonna get your MCAs, your Art Institute. You're gonna find that stuff in the guides. But the cool thing about Chicago is it has a niche for everybody, like literally. So like depending on what you're into, there's stuff for you here. But I would probably send you to a niche museum and to get a killer breakfast sandwich. That's what I would do.
Love it. That sounds like a perfect day.
Right?
Yeah. Emma, thanks so much for joining us, and I really appreciate all the time. This was super fun.
Thank you so much for having me, Ashley.
Thank you for listening to Notes from Chicago. This podcast is edited and produced by Tanisha Blakely. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Notes from Chicago on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts.